Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. Cheers. Recording this late Christmas Eve, it's probably Christmas now. Seeking a thread. How are you? Been a busy week, so I couldn't find time to get to this video until now. Christmas Eve, everything's ready. Kids got every goddamn thing they wanted. No, they're gonna be thrilled. It's gonna be a good day. Got some travel tomorrow. It's cold. It is quite cold here. What is it? Bomb cyclone that's going on? Is that what it is? It's even hit Arizona, the vinyl douche, apparently. But I was supposed to have a dig with Dave, the VC ambassador, Friday. Yesterday in Rochester. It didn't happen. The day started warm and rainy. By the middle of the day, it was like -degree wind chill and snow. So I could have theoretically gotten to Rochester to meet Dave, but couldn't have got home. And Dave, who is visiting his family from near Rochester, he's now stuck without power there. So we were going to move the dig to Monday, the day after Christmas. But it looks like the weather has still screwed him up. It's kind of screwed me up. We were going to meet Brandon, Faust in the Head, I think even Joe. Vinyl Archive, right? Looks like that's all falling apart. So the day will have to be some other time. But in any case, have a good old-fashioned Christmas. I figured I'd show a Christmas record. I'm waiting to play this. It comes with a Christmas card from Sundazed. It's called The Letter Home. What is this? This is originally a private press, a record I've had in my want list since I found out about it. Whenever. I started collecting obscure and fun Christmas records years and years ago, and this is one that I came upon, never seen it, and Sundazed just reissued it. Well, no, this is from 2020, I think now, even, or 2021. It was 2021. Earlier this year they did it. I've been waiting to play it. It's not really a Christmas album. It kind of is. I mean, it's sort of like, what it is like a collaborative affair of different musicians doing different songs, private press, sort of psychedelic, sort of, as you heard, folky. The claim to fame on this is Andy Summers from The Police is on this record. You can see his name listed there, I think, somewhere. So it's really just a mix of different musicians. Andy Summers I see on a few songs. He was on that first track, actually. This is Child in Question. And we're going to listen to this thing, because it's Christmas. And we're going to listen to a Christmas record. Originally from 1975. Very obscure. So there it is. The Letter Home here. This Christmas card, I think, gives you the description of it. We won't go too into it. I did read this at some point. I think it was meant to be like a bunch of musicians coming home for Christmas and making this album, so it's not really a Christmas album, more in the spirit of Christmas. Blap Records. Anyway, that's what we're going to hear on this new vinyl in my life. 2022 coming to an end. Next week, hopefully I'll get it in before the new year. I'll do my recap, which, as I alluded to, won't really be like a favorite finds or best music of the year. There'll be some of that, but it's kind of going to be my thoughts on my record collecting experience in 2022. But I've had some really great finds at the end of the year here, and I'm going to show them to you. The Carolina Soul records I'm working through. I've almost listened to all of them now, and I'm happy with them. I really am. So you can check that video. It's out in the feed. Here's one. I first discovered this record from a flip video that Sherv did, where he was showing records on the floor. And a lot of you have been hip to this, but I'm only hip to it as in a year or two ago. And I found the other one pretty easy from 1976, but this is the Entourage Music Ensemble. This is from 1973 on Folkways. I couldn't find it. Could not find this. It has not turned up in the record store here. I haven't seen it in any record stores around. There is a reissue that we've had, but I knew I could find this at some point. It hasn't for a minute there, I saw it, the prices or the copies weren't quite right, and then it just hasn't come up at all. And then I saw a copy go list for some stupid amount, like $200. I was like, I'm not doing that. That's sold, from what I can tell. So I was like, I'm never going to find this. Well, just a week ago, a seller, Baby's on Fire in Baltimore, listed it for the super fair price, like just at about mid-range, I think it was. And they listed both Entourage music ensembles, and they both sold super fast. In fact, I bought one and someone else bought the other. The person who bought the other was asking the seller, like, hey, did you really sell the other copy that quick? And they're like, yeah, some person bought it. And that the seller mistakenly replied to me telling me this. That's how I know. In any case, we both snapped it up. The other person wanted both, obviously. I only needed this one. But it is incredibly clean. It has the booklet. And who are these guys? I didn't even tell you. It's 4 different musicians: Joe Clark, Rusty Clark, Michael Smith, and Nancy Schaff doing poetry. From Baltimore originally, they moved to like Connecticut and upstate New York. And it really combines a bit of a sort of 20th century feel, modern composer feel, but like in a jazz setting, psychedelic in its sort of approach with the sort of effects they're putting on the percussion and the instruments. It's just lovely. This is another insert. This looks like a Space Needle Suicide. It shows here. That I know is from the second album, so I'm wondering if this is... I have to find out if this insert is supposed to be for the other album, but super glad to get just a lovely minty copy. And yeah, Santa's gonna be here any minute. Folkways, 1973. There is a reissue of this, but sure, thank you for flipping past it that day. I'm like, that's a psychedelic cover, and I want to know what it is. Getting into some other experimental and jazz. Here's a VC favorite. Ever since people have been showing it, I've been following it. Henri Texier, Amir. This is from 1975 or 6. It is 1970. I think recorded in 75, released in 76. A one-man show of just tour de force of beauty. I mean, it's sort of a jazz album. Kind of like Arthur Russell in a way before Arthur Russell was around. Just recording everything. Texier. Fender bass, flute, piano, percussion, cello, of course. Yeah. I mean, you've heard this. It's just such a lovely album, and it just really takes you on a trip. Hard to describe, really, too. Now, this one, I thought I was buying the original Blue Label pressing, and I've been waiting for it to arrive in the States, and it did. But it's they gave me the wrong copy, so we came to a nice agreement on this, and I got it for an even better price. Condition maybe wasn't quite right. It checks out, and it is an earlier pressing, so it's the black Disques JMS label. But, just to get it in the US, I didn't want to pop for it. I know Alex was selling the Texier records, and I kind of miss those. So, came home to roost. I just showed this on Instagram, and shout out to the Rev Rock and Rollin' for doing a great feature on his favorite jazz album of the year, and this is special. It's on the Eremite label. Jeff Parker, Mondays at the Enfield Tennis Academy, with Josh Johnson, Anna Butters, Jay Belrose drums. I'm not gonna take it out. Yeah, this is modern jazz at its best to me. Jeff Parker of Tortoise and many other things. Many releases. Just such a great sense of restraint, and the bass playing is truly wonderful. I turned up the bass on it when I played it too, just to sort of get a bit of feel. I just love this label, Eremite. It really the Natural Information Society records that they've done, the Josh Abrams stuff. So cool, and just I love the space it occupies. It just is this the right spirit. It's out there, it's otherworldly, but it's grounded. Just lovely. This was partially recorded in 2019, and then they picked up in 2021 in the last track. So yeah, pre-pandemic record, they finished it up after. It came out this year, but it's kind of a repress. I think it's the second pressing of it. There's a numbered edition, so I think this is out there. It's expensive though. I got this at Angry Mom and I was able to get it for cost, which is helpful. But it's an expensive retail price, but it's worth it. It is a double LP. Check out, I'll link to Reb's video with his favorites of the year and talking about this, because he forced me to pull it out of the pile of stuff I haven't played yet. This was Chris Cole VCLT a couple months ago, and I'm really just sort of digging deep into this one. Interior, self-titled album produced by Hiromi Sono. Lovely Japanese ambient, definitely gets into sort of some sort of mid-80s pastiche a bit. But I really love a few of the tracks, just really interesting. The first one, Technobos, is my favorite. Pretty cool. There's a reissue of this coming out, or it's already out. And I guess the Japanese pressing is sort of the more desirable one. This is the Windham Hill one, which you can find, but I think this is even getting tough to find. And yeah, it hovers into sort of ambient new wave feel. But the Japanese ambient thing runs throughout. Check these dudes out, looking clean. Thank you, Chris Cole. Good give. Good VCLT. I appreciate that. Here's one I got. I got this when I bought the Cleve Posar from Campo in Australia. This is the other record I bought. Joseph Jarman on Delmark. As If It Were the Seasons. Another one that Alex showed in his Delmark video that's proving to be very influential and expensive for me. Yeah, I just don't see the Delmark stuff here. Speaking of Chris Cole, I know in Chicago you see this stuff. We don't see it here too often, even though we do have a lot of jazz here in Ithaca. Anyway, this is basically the Art Ensemble Crew, the Association for the Advancement of Creative Musicians, AACM, and a whole laundry list of people on this. This doesn't get crazy. It does at times. The whole first side is very loose, and it's got that sort of improvised thing that the Art Ensemble groups do, with this like light percussion, sort of a little bit of vocal here, some sort of string work and stuff like that, and then it starts to get sort of progressively sort of weirder and more out there. What's the year on this thing? Took everything out of the sleeves today. Aren't you proud of me? The year's not here. It's got to be the early 70s, but Joseph Jarman doing all the reeds, Charles Clark bass cello, Koto, Thurman Barker, all kinds of drums, it says. Sherry Scott is the voice, and then you have Muhammad Richard Abrams on piano and oboe, Joel Bryn, flute, Fred Anderson, tenor sax, John Stubblefield, tenor sax, John Jackson, trumpet, Lester Lachey, trombone, and everybody doing different percussion. It definitely starts to get a little unhinged at the second side, but this is one for people who want to hear like sort of jazz improvisation and sort of out there sounds without it getting totally unhinged. So, although there are some moments, but Song to Make the Sun Come Up, Song for Christopher are the songs on this. Joseph Jarman. Wow, that's already the end of A Letter Home side A. Let's hear side B. I'm going to try to finish this video before the side runs out. Some more experimental Alvin Lucier. Found this on eBay for the very nice opening bid price, I thought. Music for Solo Performer. Another one I know Alex has shown at some point. This is so interesting. It's basically Lucier with Pauline Oliveros. taking a John Cage technique to sort of hook brainwaves up to people and recording those brainwaves to make a sort of sound. And they did this while going live through loudspeakers and basically playing music over it and with it, I think it is. The whole description is here. Alvin Lucier recorded and superimposed 8 versions of music for solo performer, overlaying pairs of Western classical and jazz percussion instruments as well as a cardboard box and a metal trash can. On side B, Paulino Oliveros recorded 4 versions, each with a separate world music percussion orchestration: Indian, West African, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. These performances involve a single performer sitting before an audience with a pair of electrodes attached to their scalp, which are routed through amplifiers to loudspeakers. The loudspeakers are placed underneath, upon, or against, touching a battery of percussion instruments distributed throughout the performance space. Psychedelic. Anyway, it's on Lovely Music 1982, and at times it sounds like sort of subtle. The second side, the Olivero side, has a little more movement, a little more sort of bubbling and sort of sound art, I'd say. The first side is definitely more sort of a little more sort of backgroundy but ambient. An interesting record for sure, and not, so this is not really noise music per se. It's sound art. So Alvin Lucier, music for solo performer on Lovely Music 1982. Egyptian, Kalthoum, a bunch of Egyptian records. Ended up in Angry Mom one day, and I pulled a few. Now, she's a legendary Egyptian singer. Some really great vocals on this. It's tough to determine the pressing, but it is an Egyptian pressing. The Sono Cairo. And it's just moving music. I mean, I don't have a lot to say about it other than her voice is very moving and, expressive. Sono Cairo label. This is the year. Yeah, I had a hard time pinning this one down exactly what year, but in any case. I mean, when you see Egyptian original records come through your local store, you kind of got to take advantage of it. So that's what we have here from Kalthoum. I sold this reissue on the live stream. Thank you, everybody. Again, this is the original I upgraded to. This is definitely an album you need in your house. African Head Charge, My Life in a Hole in the Ground. 1981 on the On You Sound label. A super heady and trippy dub album produced by Adrian Sherwood. It's the only African Head Charge I have. I have a bunch more Dub Syndicate, so I gotta get more Head Charge. Here's the label. Not expensive. On You Sound. I mean, the crew that's on these are just incredible. Crucial Tony is a big one. Dr. Pablo Melodica. A.V. Scott and Crocodile. 1981. Again, this is still that Letter Home record. This is a Christmas gift from George, the owner of Angry Mom, and Noah, my friend, who works there. Super thrilled to get Scientist Meets the Space Invaders. Original UK pressing on Greensleeves. Scientist is just the man. 21 years old, making this music. Stripped down in a way, but so trippy. And this cover, I'm really wanting to find these, the Scientist meets, the cartoon covers. Absolutely essential dub music, produced or mixed at King Tubby's with the Roots Radix backing him. So thrilled to find that. I saw it in the store. I'm like, I need to have that. And before I could even buy it, they tricked me. They said it sold when I left. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I find that they just had grabbed it for me. So, thank you guys. Here's something else moving into rock. The Numbers Band. This is Jimmy Bell's in Town, sort of a glammy blues rock bar band that they're maybe not selling it there, but it's interesting. It's on the Water Brothers label, Water Brothers, 1976. It's sort of like a bar band just sort of gone wrong, sort of doing glammy and doing like sort of sloppy solos and stuff. This is the Private Press, I guess, Water Brothers original copy. Not terribly expensive. It has a Stooges vibe. There's saxophone on this. You can see it's a whole group of musicians. It's not like proto-punk like the Stooges. A little bit. It's a little more, like I said, blues rock, but sort of like very endearing in its portrayal, we'll say. Go in, go in. I forget how I found out about this. This is something I got on Disques, by the way. One of these things I had on my want list forever and just never really paid attention. And one day I'm like, oh, maybe I'll grab it. Yeah, I mean, the cover appeals to me. It's not something I would listen to usually. It's just like a bunch of lame-ass dudes in a bar sort of making racket, but kind of getting out there and wild. 1976. I'll throw a sample of this one if I can. Numbers Band.
Out across these night skylights, down through the doorway, wide-eyed blues alive. Loveless, obsessed, immersed in the Louis perfume. Feel is some woman in the room.
Shout out to Michael Valentini, who reminded me to get this one, the first vinyl issue of Bouquet by Robbie Basho. So this now completes all of the different records for Basho. This is originally a 1983 cassette that was really just made available to the new age market. It used to be in those like turning racks in sort of, grocery stores, chain stores, sort of, what do you call it? Healing, meditation centers, that kind of, those kinds of locations. And it's reissued by the Lost Lagoon label this year. And it has a lot of vocals. This is not the record to start with for Basho, but there's some surprisingly cool stuff, including Land of Our Fathers, the Hoppy Hymn, Tears of Teresa as well. It's great liner notes, great package, great research done on this. Glenn Jones, my favorite, does the biggest part of this from Cambridge. Of course, the guitarist doing all the solo guitar recordings. So you can still get this. Robbie Basho's Bouquet, first time on vinyl. Now here's one of a band, of a musician that I knew about this record. I used to have the reissue of his Private Press, sort of psychedelic rock folk, called Forgetting It. Robert Lester Folsom. So these are archives of his other stuff that he made, unreleased. And I passed on this. I didn't really think too much of it, but a lot of times when we cook dinner, we'll put on music and we'll use Spotify to sort of like come up with music and just sort of run, so we don't have to change anything. And this record, someone wanted us to buy this. The algorithm was strong for this record, and it is good. And I have to say, Spotify totally sold me on this. But it's Ode to a Rainy Day, Volume 1. Volume 2 just came out, which I don't have yet, but super great songwriter. Wouldn't call it psychedelic as much as sort of like a rural folk rock, but a great, really good songwriter, good musician, this guy, Robert Lester Folsom, all from 72 to 75. It's on the Anthology label. Really beautiful sleeve, I have to say, too. We have, insert of some sort here. This is an inner sleeve. I highly recommend this, and you should stream it if you choose. Just watch out. If you do, you might start hearing it all the time. But I can highly recommend this guy for his songwriting and the feel of these songs. They're sort of, I wouldn't call them quite lo-fi. The production's nice, but it lends itself to the music. So, Ode to a Rainy Day. Hamish Kilgore, we know, passed away, and I was able to locate one of his last solo records, which was going for like a lot of money, not available in the US, but if you just go to the Bada Bing site or the Grapefruit record site, they're selling this for like $15. So I'll link to that if I remember. This is really strong though. All of it and nothing. Hamish Kilgore. This is from, I think it's 2015. I believe he's mostly recording this all himself. It's him on acoustic drumming, and then other sort of sound, experiments. It's psychedelic, actually. He's really got a cool vibe on this. It's sort of out there and a little dark, but sort of emotional at sometimes, and just lovely, really lovely, a little sparse. His vocals are really good, sort of haunting, and then there's some songs that just some really cool atmosphere. So this is from, like I said, the Bada Bing label, 2014. Check out the Grapefruit Records site, which is sort of a partner with Bada Bing, if you want to get this. This is Hamish's art, I'm pretty sure, too. Excellent.
Misguided missiles in the air, transmission of my fear. The winter streets so harsh it's good.
I'll show a few things recommended by Stunty from the pre-order. I'm going to pull it from here. The Ghost Box double 10-inch. I love a double 10-inch. Now he did these, Stunty and Michael have done these upcoming releases streams, which have been really popular, and I enjoy them because it helps me isolate some things that I may have known about, and I'll sort of key in on a little more. It definitely tells me about something I didn't know about, and then also to sort of, things I did know about, like, oh yeah, this is reinforcing my need for them. But anyway, this is the Ghost Box label. It's from the Ghost Box label, which is run by Julian House, I believe it is, who does the design on these. Really beautiful design. And this is sort of electronic, it appeals, it comes from like the library music tradition of sort of sound, music sort of ripe for experimentation and sort of sampling and use in stage and screen. And I like this. It is all instrumental, I believe. And the other stuff the Advisory Circle did that Stunty has played is probably stronger than this, but this is nice. I need some more time with it. And it's a double 10. Full circle. I had to get this from Boomcat. Does not have distribution here in the US, so be warned on that, at least that I've seen. A UK release, though. There's a bunch of Advisory Circle stuff. Good sort of loungy, electronic, rhythmic, but kind of like, good sort of chill-out music, we'll say. This is another one that had a lot of attention, and I dug this. This is an Irish musician, Elaine Hawley. What's the title again? The Distance Between Heart and Mouth, on the Touch Sensitive label. I like this because it was coming. I like solo women performers sort of creating electronic music that's sort of like lo-fi and sort of from their own mind. It's like a solo performer, but she's creating this whole world, and that's what's happening here. At times sort of out there and cosmic. Other times it's a little similar, a little like a broadcast, I'd say. Or Cindy Lee is a good analog to this, which is Patrick from the band Women, but Cindy Lee is the project. Look that up, by the way. This is really nice design. I need more time with this kind of record. This kind of record I have to probably stream a bit and then come back to the vinyl. This is a solid new release. Won't be on my year-end list or my favorite records of the year, but really happy with that one.
Can you tell me who I'm supposed to be? On a thorough relic on the spire of history. Dust me off, archaeologist.
Here's another one that goes right with it. I think this is on the Stunty stream as well, but I was already pre-ordering this. I think it's the third album, the Australian. Carla Del Forno, Come Around on the Calista label. This one's a little more stripped down and minimal, a little more like a minimal wave record. Here's the inner sleeve, just on black vinyl on this. She's excellent. Carla Del Forno. That's why. I really like the minimalism that she does with her music. Oh yeah, and the cool thing about this was they covered the United States of America, the psychedelic 60s psych group, the Garden of Earthly Delights, with Joe Bird and Dorothy Moskowitz. One of my favorite top 100 psychedelic records. But, so yeah, if she's covering that, you can kind of get a sense of where her interests lie. But this is definitely more sort of like, there's a few other bands I'm not thinking of that it reminds me of, but really great solo performer, minimal wave, sort of trippy, you know, dance pop, I guess. I wouldn't call it dance, but anyway. A lovely album by Carla Del Forno. Come Around. A few more indie records. I'll show this. This was like $4, and this came out in 2016 on the Paradise of Bachelors label. It's called Mind Over Mirrors, Undying Color. This is one that I loved at Anger Mom in 2016. I just never bought it. I just love this. I love the sort of fourth world Eno. The texture is done by this. It sort of has a folk element to it too, like a calophone, but stays in a place that's sort of above ground rather than on ground. And this has a bunch of collaborators. Haley 4 is on this. But Mind Over Mirrors is Jamie Fenley playing a bunch of stuff. Indian pedal, harmonium, Oberheim synth, electronics. We have Janet Bean, vocals. Jim Becker of Calophone is on this. Haley 4 vocals. John Muller, forgetting where he's from. And Justin Amalsh, Nick Brost, and Mike Weiss singing bowls. Oh, recorded and mixed by Cooper Crane of Bitch and Bajas. That's probably another reason why I was interested. Here's the original hype sticker, but this was $4 used. Janet Beveridge Bean is on this from Freak Water, that's right. Circuit de Use, Haley 4, and John Muller of Death Blues. So, real cool communal record, 2016 on the North Carolina-based Paradise of Bachelors. This is lovely. It gets sort of ambient and sort of minimalistic. It sort of goes, you know, into space a bit, but like I said, there's that element of like bands like Freak Water and Calophone in this. Mind Over Mirrors, Undying Color. This is from 2016. If you want to find a cheap record that's solid, should really be Cheap Pete right here. Alright, two more, and these are sort of old indie records. I've been picking up the Sebadoh records as I see them. And I've had all of the Sebadoh stuff on... CD forever. And so when I see the records I don't have, I find them. I grab them. The Freed Man on Homestead. This would be 1989. This is, what, the second album? It's all short songs with Jason Lowenstein, Lou Barlow. And I know these really well. I mean, it's hard to remember all these songs. It's silly and sort of crude at times, but it's a real nostalgia for me. Songs by Lou. Oh, not Jason Lowenstein. Eric. Sorry, not Jason. Eric with Lou. Jason comes later. So, super happy to find these. I'm missing a couple other ones. Smash Your Head in the Punk Rock. I have Sebadoh 3, and I have the later ones. There's another early one I'm missing, I think, on vinyl, but on CD, they're all upstairs. So, Anyway, there we have it. Last record, side project of Flying Saucer Attack, the first album by Movie Tone, with Rachel Barnes, who is on most of the Flying Saucer Attack stuff. But this is her side project, and this goes back to '94. This is the first album, self-titled, on the Planet Punk label out of Bristol. That was where the band was from, Bristol, Flying Saucer Attack. Movie Tone is a little, at least on this record, not quite doing the same things. A little more of post-rock, I guess, and at times sort of straight shoegaze, but then there's like sort of some Mogwai moves to it. The later records feel more sort of a little more folk-based, like a Pullman, but definitely out there. Beautiful. Rachel's voice is beautiful. And I think this might be getting a reissue coming up, but this was just an original pressing I had to get because it was cheap. I probably got this for what the reissue is going to sell for, so I was like, I'll take it. You know, someone put up a copy for sale and just didn't think that there was much interest, and there probably isn't, but I care. Movie Tone. This is the original insert that has like a letter to Warner Brothers, and it says "fuck you" on it for whatever reason. But that's the original label insert. Yeah, recorded in '93 actually. It came out in '94, Planet Records. The rest of their albums are on Domino Drag City, and I think those are out of print, maybe getting repressed. I have this is now the third Movie Tone record I have, and there are 4 of them. And I love anything related to Flying Saucer Attack. So, yeah, Rachel, it's her side project. Lovely record, just self-titled, Movie Tone, great artwork too. So. Alright, that's going to end it. Pretty long video. And it's Christmas. I have to go to bed. I have to get cookies for Santa. And I just hope everyone's doing great. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday with their family and everything. And getting home and getting to those locations safely. Yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. What are some of your favorite records this year? Favorite reissues? I will do my recap next. Good tidings to you. I will see you soon. All right. Take care.